Merry Christmas, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Vlogmas. In today's video, I thought it would be a really fun idea to talk about some American Christmas traditions that I grew up with and compare those with Norwegian Christmas traditions that have now become a part of my annual celebration here in Norway. Now, there are a lot of similarities, but also a lot of differences, maybe more than one might expect. So, without further ado, let's start comparing American versus Norwegian Christmas traditions. Now, this is really fitting considering the hat I'm wearing, but the first topic of discussion is going to be Santa Claus in America versus Santa Claus in Norway. So in America, Santa Claus is the classic Santa that you're probably thinking of right now. I'm pretty sure we're all familiar with the story. Santa is a jolly, chubby man who lives at the North Pole with a bunch of elves, makes a lot of toys, and then flies all around the world on Christmas Eve delivering presents to all the good girls and boys of the world. This particular brand of Santa was originally popularized by the Coca-Cola ad campaign that drew him as this jolly old man that we've come to love. Norway also has Santa, but he's not really called Santa here. He's actually called julenisse, and a julenisse is a nisse. You probably don't know what that is, but a nisse is like this small mythological creature. It's kind of like a mixture between a gnome or a little elf, and they're these very mischievous creatures that like to pull pranks on humans. There's normal nisse, and then there's the julenisse, which is literally the Christmas nisse. And he is the one that delivers all of the presents to the good girls and boys on Christmas Eve. Not only is the julenisse a very important figure in Christmas time in Norway, but other nisse are as well. There's lots of series and children's cartoons that have popularized these winter nisse, and you can see them pulling pranks on humans, usually by hiding things, misplacing them so that people think they're going a little crazy just as a prank. Something that is traditional for the julenisse to do in Norway is to hand deliver the presents to the girls and boys of the world on Christmas Eve. Usually this looks like you having a Christmas Eve party at a family member's house, and then during the dinner or right after there will be a knock at the door, and who will it be but Santa Claus? And then he comes and he gives the presents to the little kids, and it's a really sweet moment. But because of this, he's not really a major figure on Christmas Day itself. Almost all of the celebrations in Norway actually happen on Christmas Eve instead. And it also means that julenisse is a little absent in the days leading up to Christmas too. Whereas in America, there's Santas everywhere collecting for charity or even the mall Santas, but that's not really a thing that's done in Norway. So yeah, sitting on Santa's lap and telling him what you want for Christmas isn't really a thing here, although kids definitely still write letters to the North Pole asking what they want for Christmas. Christmas movies. My personal favorite Christmas movie is actually Elf. The story of a human who was adopted by elves and raised in the North Pole, who then manages to reconnect with his long-lost human family in New York City. I think this movie is very reminiscent of a lot of Christmas movies that I'm sure plenty of us grew up with. Some of my other favorites include Home Alone, the Rudolph Stoll animated film, and of course The Muppet Christmas Carol. In Norway though, they tend to watch different movies around Christmas time. The most popular Christmas movie of all time in Norway is actually Askepott, which is Cinderella. It is really popular here in Norway. Not only do all the TV channels stream it every December, there's even live plays of it that you can go and see. Now this isn't the Cinderella story though that you're probably familiar with. It's not the Disney one. Actually, it is this independent Cinderella version from the Czech Republic in 1973. The original movie was narrated in Norwegian and streamed to families all over the country, and it instantly became a Christmas classic. Now, there was also a remake done in 2021 with an all-Norwegian cast, and I think that film did fairly well in the Norwegian market as well. In the Norwegian version of the Cinderella story, it takes place deep in the Norwegian forest and mountains, covered in snow, and it's just the perfect setting for a Christmas movie. Now, another thing I wanted to talk about was Advent. In America, Advent is mainly associated with Advent calendars, and while those are very popular in Norway, there's a lot more to Advent in Norway than just that. But in America, the Advent calendar is essentially a thing that you open up every single day leading up to Christmas. So there's 24 little candies or little presents, little products just really anything. I think this year, for example, I got a chocolate advent calendar and then a beauty products advent calendar, and you just get a little treat every day leading up to Christmas. It's really fun, but Norway takes it a whole step further. In Norway, of course, they have the advent calendars, but they also have advent TV shows and they have advent candles. So the advent candles are, well, in modern day, they're these candles that you put in your window and they're supposed to be turned on, lighting up the dark winters all winter long. Now, there is a second part to this tradition, which is the 4 candles of Advent. Every Sunday leading up to Christmas, so the 4 Sundays leading up to Christmas, you will light a candle. So on the first Sunday of December, you light 1 of the 4, then on the second Sunday, you light 2 of the 4, and so on. This is just a nice wholesome tradition that people do in the weeks leading up to Christmas. Now, maybe I should start explaining Advent TV shows. So no, they're not TV shows about Advent calendars. Instead, they are mini-series with 24 episodes and 1 episode premieres each day. They're mini-series though because usually the episodes are like 15 to 20 minutes long, and there will always be several Christmas or winter themed TV shows released every year. Last year, for example, I watched one which was like this magical Christmas adventure about these people living in this winter wonderland and then transversing over into the real world. And I also watched this other one which was for kids. It was about Tivoli. So it's about this ragtag group of orphans who were working at this like Christmassy carnival circus thing. It was really fun though, and I think it's a nice little tradition that you could do every single day leading up to Christmas as well. Another thing that is a really big part of Christmas in Norway is the Christmas lights, and specifically the Christmas star. In Norway, almost every house you'll see will have a giant Christmas star lighting up the window. Plus, there's always going to be a ton of Christmas lights hanging over all of the streets in the city. In America, however, people go extreme in a different way. I have definitely seen in my time plenty of houses just completely covered from head to toe in electrical lights. And who can forget those iconic Christmas light shows that are timed perfectly with music. My favorite is when they synchronize the Christmas lights to Carol of the Bells. Next, we're going to talk about the Christmas markets, my favorite part of December. Because we live in Oslo, we're actually really lucky and we live next to the biggest Christmas market in all of Norway. The Christmas market has a lot of shopping options. There's wool clothing, handmade wooden ornaments, there's tons of food, and even rides. Some of the food that's really popular is reindeer meat, gingerbread, glug, which is this sweetened grapefruit juice with raisins and nuts put inside it. Oh, and it's heated up, of course. Freshly made donuts and hot chocolate. At the Oslo Christmas market, there's even an ice skating rink, a Ferris wheel, a carousel, and more. There's just so many rides that you can go on. There's even stalls where you can play games and win carnival prizes. And the best part is the Christmas market in Oslo is located directly in the heart of the city on Karl Johan Street, which is also lit up all December long with beautiful Christmas lights. And you can even walk along that street after the Christmas market and go into some of the shopping malls for more Christmas shopping. Now, in America, while there are Christmas bazaars, I've never really come across anything really of the same magnitude that exists in Europe. When I'm in America, there's usually like the equivalent of a local farmer's market that pops up, and you can go and buy Christmas treats and desserts, and there will always be some cute Christmassy themed handmade crafts, ornaments, clothes, like things that will make really good Christmas gifts essentially. But nothing really as big or extravagant as what exists in Europe. Now, Christmas food is a little different in both countries as well. In America, when I was growing up, we would usually have honeyed ham for Christmas dinner with mashed potatoes and gravy, green bean casserole, rolls, jello, and usually some kind of Christmas cake for dessert. In Norway, on the other hand, there's really different types of food for Christmas. In Norway, a family will usually eat for their main course either a ribbe, pinnekjøtt, or lutefisk. And this is basically 2 different types of pork, so the ribs of the pork, or like this pork chop type thing. And lutefisk is just a fish dish that you can have instead of pork. Now this is usually served with boiled potatoes and gravy, some other kind of vegetable, some bread slices, and then titebar jam, which is kind of like cranberry sauce, but a little sweeter, and the berries are a little smaller. And for dessert, there's usually a riskrem with krumkake, which is this like waffle cone type thing, and then this rice pudding. And there's always an almond hidden inside the rice pudding, and whoever finds that in their serving wins a little prize, like a little marzipan candy usually. So while I do prefer American Christmas dinner over Norwegian Christmas dinner, just because it's what I'm used to and what I grew up with, the Norwegian Christmas food is actually pretty tasty. Alright, now we're going to talk about the office Christmas party. And if you haven't checked it out already, I already released my office Christmas party in Norway as a video in this vlogmas series. So if you're interested to see what a real life office Christmas party in Norway looks like, go check it out. But in America, the office Christmas parties can really vary drastically. They range from being a wild affair to being pretty boring. In my personal experience though, a Christmas office party in the US is usually some kind of potluck accompanied by a white elephant gift-giving game, or maybe something along the lines of a Secret Santa. In Norway, on the other hand, they really go all out. Everyone is supposed to dress up in their nicest and fanciest clothes, and the companies will usually rent out an extravagant location for the night. There's always a giant feast, like 3-course meal, unlimited alcohol at an open bar, and tons of socializing with your coworkers. This entire shindig is called a julebord, which literally means Christmas table, because the feasting and the drinking is really a focus point of the Christmas parties in Norway. I know at my Christmas party, you're gonna have to go watch the video, but we rented out this entire skyscraper venue and we had live music. We had this awesome DJ in the night playing music until like 4 a.m. There was this great meal and everybody was dressed so fancy. It was tons of fun and I can't wait to do it again next year. Okay, for the last topic, I wanted to have the Christmas hat on again, just because I think it is probably the biggest difference between the two cultures when it comes to celebrating Christmas. The major division between the two countries is that in America, we celebrate Christmas on the 25th of December, but in Norway, they celebrate on the 24th. Now, because the days are completely different, the way we celebrate also looks completely different. In Norway, the Christmas festivities usually look something like this. On Christmas Eve, everybody wakes up, they get dressed up in their fanciest clothes and drive on over to somebody's house, usually a family member's. They will be bringing all of their presents with them, put them under the tree, and then help make Christmas dinner with the rest of the family. After having some fun festivities, some chit-chat, having dinner, the dinner will usually end with a really good dessert and some shots of aquavit, which is this alcohol that is served on Christmas along with the dessert. And then after that, there will usually be a ring at the door. Everybody will head on over, and then Santa Claus will appear with a bunch of presents for all of the kids. After Santa leaves, then everybody sees the kids opening their presents, and then we move on to the Christmas tree to all of the gifts that were brought from the visitors. Everybody then goes through the presents under the tree, passes them around, and opens them all. The party usually lasts until around midnight, and then it's time to go home. Christmas Day itself is a rather private affair in Norway. People have already opened up all of the presents and have already visited with all of their families, so it's really just a day to enjoy some calm with your family. Now, in America, the celebrations look quite different because we do not celebrate the entire holiday on the 24th. The 25th is actually the main event. For me, the way I would celebrate with my family would be on the 24th, we would go to a Christmas Eve party, usually at a family member's house. We would get dressed up, we would have a nice dinner there, and then Santa would show up at the party for the littler kids usually, and give them one present that they could open before Christmas itself actually arrived. Later, this tradition kind of evolved into us getting to choose one present from under the tree to open on Christmas Eve, but you have to wait to open the rest on Christmas Day itself. The tradition actually became that we would get a new Christmas ornament to put on the Christmas tree every Christmas Eve, and we would also get a new pair of matching pajamas for the whole family to wear so that we could be all matching on Christmas Day. On Christmas Day itself, everybody wakes up really early in their Christmas pajamas, runs into the living room, and sees everything transformed. The stockings will be filled with lots of candy and goodies, there will be new presents under the tree, and it's just so exciting to see the whole room completely transformed. Also, the Santa cookies will be gone. Because Norway actually celebrates on the 24th, they don't really do the milk and cookies for Santa. So that is something that I really like about being able to celebrate on the 25th as well, the tradition of getting to make Christmas cookies and leave them out for Santa the night before. But on Christmas Day, you just go and you open up all of your presents in the morning with your family. You'll usually stay in your pajamas all day, play with your toys if you're a kid, just hang out if you're an adult. And yeah, it's just a really nice, chill holiday with your friends and your family. And because of that, I do think I prefer the American version because you kind of get the best of both worlds. Not only do you get the Christmas Eve party with Santa Claus and the fancy dinner, but you also get Christmas Day with the pajamas, the milk and cookies, opening all the presents early in the morning and seeing the transformation. You just get a little bit of everything, and I think that's really my preference. Regardless of your Christmas traditions though, or how you celebrate this holiday season, I wish you all a wonderful time going into the new year with your friends and your family. But thank you so much for watching this episode of Vlogmas. I love you all so much, and please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this kind of content. Merry Christmas, and I'll see you all next time. Bye guys!